Hey Cowboys Nation, let's go for another round of news from America's team. Watch until the end so you don't miss any news and sign up to stay tuned for everything that comes out about the Cowboys.
Latest on Cowboys CeeDee Lamb. Like a number of other players around the league, CeeDee Lamb is currently away from his team with a new deal forthcoming. The Cowboys' record-breaking wideout is on track to miss OTAs with no extension in hand. Lamb is set to earn $17.99 in 2024 while playing on his fifth-year option. A multi-year pact will check in at a much larger price tag, as he is one of a few wideouts expected to reach the $30 per year mark on an extension. The 25-year-old, along with Justin Jefferson, Vikings, and Jamar Chase, Bengals, could each reach that plateau at any time this offseason. Quarterback Dak Prescott and edge rusher Micah Parsons are also in line for monster deals in the near future, though, and Dallas' cap outlook will change dramatically regardless of how their financial futures are handled. With respect to Prescott and Lamb, who, unlike Parsons, are pending free agents, owner Jerry Jones has endorsed a patient approach while evaluating other teams' investments around the league. Presuming that remains the case, Lamb will likely proceed without a deal for the time being. Indeed, Michael Gelkin of the Dallas Morning News writes the expectation remains an agreement will be worked out this offseason, although one may not be finalized until the summer. It was not until July or August that many of the Cowboys' top contractual situations were dealt with last offseason. Extensions for the likes of cornerback Trevon Diggs, safety Malik Hooker, and right tackle Terrence Steele all came about last summer. That was also the time at which a restructure was worked out with right guard Zach Martin, ending his training camp holdout. All parties will no doubt look to avoid a repeat of that situation in Lamb's case, but pressure will likely not ramp up on Dallas if and until he skips out on mandatory minicamp in June and/or training camp 1 month later. It doesn't matter right now. Cowboys OC Brian Schottenheimer said of Lamb's absence during voluntary workouts, via Gelkin, "CeeDee's a pro. He's going to know what to do. I know Doc and the guys have some communication with him. We know he's taking care of business, and when he gets back here, we'll certainly be able to find ways to get him the ball." Lamb led the NFL in receptions last season, 135, posting 1,749 yards and 12 touchdowns. Those career-high numbers put him the Cowboys' record books and upped his market value on an extension. Tyreek Hill's standout Dolphins Accord, which carries a $30 AAV based in part on a backloaded final season of non-guaranteed money, has recently been surpassed by Amon-Ra St. Brown and A.J. Brown's deals with the Lions and Eagles, respectively. Whether or not Lamb joins them atop the WR market, and the process by which he gets there, will remain a key Cowboys storyline. Russell Wilson pitched as Dak Prescott replacement for Cowboys. It is the middle of May, a mostly quiet time for the NFL, and still, the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys remains in the final year of his contract, sitting on a $55 million payout before he's scheduled to be a free agent in 2025. It's a no-lose situation for Dak Prescott. He gets a huge payout from the Cowboys in an extension now, or he gets a huge contract in free agency next March. Either way, Prescott is, after finishing as the runner-up in the MVP vote last year, in line for a massive payout. The Cowboys, perhaps understandably, do not appear to be in a hurry to give him that payout. After all, Prescott has shown himself to be adept at winning games in the regular season, but not so good at winning games in January. Prescott is 73-41 for his career as a regular season starter and 31-14 in his last 3 seasons. Playoffs? Well, there he is 2-5 in his career. So perhaps the Cowboys, rather than paying a heap of cash to a guy who hasn't won when the chips are down, would prefer a smaller chunk of cash for a guy who has. At Cowboys Wire, one of their potential replacements for Prescott, should he bolt in free agency, is none other than former Super Bowl champ Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is well into the back nine. Wilson is a 12-year veteran who is 35, and his best days are behind him. He wore out his welcome in both Seattle and Denver, in both places leaving a bad taste for having been more interested in being a celebrity than in being a quarterback. But he is also an accomplished player who performed well last season despite strange circumstances and friction with coach Sean Payton. He threw for 3,070 yards with 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, but Payton never seemed on board with the fact that Wilson had a 5-year, $245 million contract in hand. So the Broncos waived him, and he was signed by the Steelers. In an article titled 8 Potential Prescott Replacements, Cowboys Wire's K.D. Drummond wrote, "Russell Wilson's time in Denver mercifully came to an end. He improved over his first season, getting his TD-INT ratio back into the quality category category, 5.81.8, but the Denver team was abysmal and he certainly didn't elevate those around him. He's on a one-year deal in Pittsburgh while collecting checks with the Broncos logo, so he'll have to prove he's still capable in this league. But if he does, he'd make the perfect offseason signing if Dallas loses Prescott. Cowboys show no progress on Dak Prescott deal. As for Prescott, there appears to be no progress or even discussion that might lead to progress. As time whittles away, it would not be surprising, really, if the Cowboys simply let the Prescott deal sit on the back burner until training camp, as the team, as well as others around the NFL, has often done in past negotiations. It has been no secret that quarterback contracts were going to be one of the big stories of the 2024 offseason, and already those deals have been uncorked. That's thanks to the franchise record $212 million the Lions gave to Jared Goff, a deal that likely set the floor for the next wave of quarterbacks who will get new contracts this offseason. Prescott, who is slated to make $55 million in the final year of his current contract, is first among those, but the Packers' Jordan Love, the Jaguars' Trevor Lawrence, and Miami's Tua Tagovailoa will also be in the mix, and it is likely that those players all want to see what their cohorts get before making a move. In other words, nothing doing on Prescott yet. So the fantasy world where Wilson could be the next Cowboys quarterback remains. As Adam Schefter of ESPN said this week, no progress there, still a lot of work to be done, still a lot of questions to be answered moving forward. We don't know how this will play out, but we're looking at the distinct possibility that, being that he can't be tagged, that Dak Prescott could become a free agent in March, free to go wherever he wants. Dallas and Doc haven't made any noticeable progress towards a new deal. Cowboys RB in danger of being cut before 2024 season. One Dallas Cowboys running back's days with the team could be numbered as the 2024 NFL season slowly approaches. The Cowboys running back group has been a point of conversation all offseason, but the odd man out could be Malik Davis. Davis is entering his third NFL season after joining Dallas as an undrafted free agent in the 2022 NFL Draft. But with the additions of Royce Freeman and Ezekiel Elliott to the roster, Blogging the Boys' Mike Poland believes Davis has an uphill battle to make the 53-man squad. Davis is already pretty low on the depth chart, but it's worth mentioning as it pertains to the running back position, a spot with the most question marks, Poland wrote on May 17th. The Cowboys signing Royce Freeman before the draft was a signifier to Davis that this coaching staff felt uneasy about the depth at the position. The addition of Ezekiel Elliott back in Dallas pretty much ended any hope for Davis to make the roster, unless for injury. It makes sense, as both Freeman and Elliott have significantly more experience than Davis. While Davis hasn't seen a ton of regular season play, the Cowboys know what his skill level is after 2 full seasons. Malik Davis in Dallas. After splitting carries at Florida, Davis has entered the 2022 NFL draft cycle. While he did not get drafted, he was sought after by teams in the following UDFA wave. Dallas was able to secure his services, and it's safe to say Davis made the most of the opportunity. Davis not only made the 53-man roster that year, but had a supporting role as an RB. According to Pro Football Reference, Davis took 38 handoffs for 161 yards and a touchdown in 2022. Considering the context, that's a solid first season. The problem for Davis is that he was not able to make the main roster in 2023. Even with Elliott leaving for the New England Patriots, Davis became a practice squad option instead. Davis only appeared in 3 games last fall and did not get a single touch. The Cowboys signed him to a reserve futures contract this past January, but it definitely seems like he's on the outside looking in.